Hey, Stacy, how you doing? Everything okay with the book? New guy, Waggy44. Hello. Waggy, what's your real name? And welcome. Paul, what's up? Everybody's Harry. This is unusual. Paul's early, 2 days in a row. All right, Paul. You can hear and see me. And Jim is here. Okay, listen, I've had a few, not complaints, but discussions about the sound coming out to you. Are you guys getting it from two speakers? That was way ahead of its time, Paul, the intermounting flame. Hello, Dennis. Now, the intermounting flame, man, that was, I think it was released, oh, Jesus, 73, 72, in that range, I think. I saw those guys live. Unbelievable. Billy Cobham, that was his gig, man. Wow, is right. Okay, so we got Waggy's here, right? Waggy, hi, Robert. Waggy, who are you? It's your first time. Say hello to everybody, get friendly, get comfortable, ask questions. Jim's gonna put my email in again, right, Jim? So he could, 1971, oh, yeah, about that, I forgot, man. I'm getting old, don't forget that. You know, it's hard sometimes for me even to remember my wife's name because I have so many things going on in my mind. Anyway, another few more things. When I open up my site again, and you guys want to buy books, like from Alfred, Amazon, Hudson Music, I'm going to have a display, but anytime before you buy a drum book, please contact me. Another Bison, hey. Okay, well here, all you need to do is email me and I'll put you on my mailing list, okay? Buongiorno. Paul, you're another Bison, okay. If you watch, did you watch my video on the way, I have the stick control book, the way George Lawrence Stone intended it? You should watch that, okay? I will explain it a little bit here tonight, because tonight's more or less an open kind of night. I want to do both drum pad and drum set, but it doesn't look like it's going to be the drum pad. So I think I'm going to cut the drum pad down to Thursday afternoon only. How's that sound, guys? Okay, so good. What you need to do, that if you want to do it 20 times, that was only for, this seat's driving me crazy. Come on, seat. Mercy. What's wrong? I see. Excuse me. Okay. Now, it says 20 times, and yeah, it's just a way to do it, but it's not the only way. And that's not what he wanted. But because of the fact, how's he going to explain? Repeat the line, vamp with the line you end with, pan you end with, so on and so forth. So it's just as easy to say, do it 20 times, or for a minute, or whatever. I explained this afternoon. I have done the stick control book most of my life, every day. Full strokes, half strokes, and quarter strokes. As first the full strokes, as a loosening up exercise. And I demonstrated it today at 35. And I explained the reasons why at 35. That's the starting point. If your metronome does not go to 35, it probably more or less goes to 40. Okay? It starts at 40 rather. So the first thing you should do there, Waggy, hey old dog, how you doing? Well, you don't go further. You have a limit, Waggy. You know, you have full strokes, half strokes, and quarter strokes. And I did explain this afternoon that if I hit the drum up there, I mean, I'm working hard. If I hit it here, I'm not working so hard. And if I hit it here, it's for like crescendos or a lot of, yeah. Mac, come on. Dynamic markings, okay? What you do is, how do you go further? It's an exercise. If you approach the book as an exercise, that's how you're going to come out with doing it as an exercise. I just put out a publication, a private publication that I did, okay? And that's good advice, Robert. I have, how many formulas? 45 different formulas of how to do the stick control book. When you do the stick control book, yes, you initially do it the way it's presented, because it's presented first, okay, as a warm-up or a hand exercise or a development process, page 5, 6, and 7. So I expanded on that, and I said, okay, I use now formulas, which, for example, if I said right equals three strokes, or an eighth note triplet, or left equals 3 strokes. All right, and this is for you, Stacy. This is the first formula, okay? And for everybody else as well. So if I do 3 strokes now, I'm going to reference off the stick control book. I'm not going to play the stick control book now, page 5. I'm referencing from it. So the first line is right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. It's counted 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. However, now if I use the formula and I want to use it in an eighth note triplet formation, I'm going to take the first right, left, and make it the formula, 3 rights and 3 lefts. So if I reference off of that, the first right, left, here we go. 3 and 4 and. Now I just referenced off it and only played the half a measure. If I'm referencing from that or using that as a formula, that's a 4-measure increment, okay? So there's no real amount like do it 100,000 times and do the next line at 1 time. There's no formula like that. We're all individuals. We all know our limits. And the first thing you want to do, it's not to be stressful or tight or agonizing or painful. You've heard that expression, no pain, no gain. Well, hey, no, that's not in drumming, man. You hurt yourself, you're going to be out of commission for quite some time. So you want to push yourself, yes. You don't want no calluses or blisters or whatever. That's nonsense. That means that something is not correct. I've been playing 100 years. I have never had a blister, nor a callus or anything from playing the drums. I did have a childhood injury like I've talked about before. But this is one way to do it, and this is called a reference that I take from the stick control book. And it's one of the 46 formulas. Okay, so it's going to be, if I do the first line, and I'm going to do the first line complete, and I'll stop when I finish the first line. And I'll do it slow, in a half-stroke position. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, I just did the first line. It's another thing. You're expanding upon his brilliance. Now, from the first line, I'm going to go directly into the second line. Hey, you got 3 more pages to do. And that's a one-surface hand exercise. Now, if you don't feel like working in the order of the stick control book, you set a timer, 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and you randomly play 3 rights, 3 lefts, but in tempo. Like, for example, watch this. 1, was no referencing from the page. I just randomly played in succession three rights, three rights, three rights, and then three lefts, or whatever I wanted to do. So it eliminates the boredom, all right? Because it does get boring if you're going to do it every day like one way. You have to expand your knowledge. Hey, Renzo, you did get the PDFs. Now let me hear you. So I do for example, first page, all the exercises. For each exercise, I try different beats, metronomic markings, and I do the vamps. Is that right? And when I reach my limit, I can turn the page. Well, let me tell you, that's you're on the right road. You know, if you want to organize it that way, that's the beauty of the book. You could organize it that way. Like I demonstrated in the video, the stick control the way George Lawrence Stone intended it to be. Okay, but now, if you're going to go from line 1, line 2, line 3, line 4, which is fine. But now, be creative. Say, all right, if I repeat line 1 or any of the lines, it's a 4-measure increment. So how about if you do this? Do line 1 and revert to line 13 as the third and fourth measure and work it that way. Or do line 1 again and go to line 15 or line 17. It's a difference in a way of doing it. Now, there's no right way or wrong way to play music, okay? We're not playing music, we're developing execution, how to develop correct execution, and there is a correct way. My drumstick is an extension of my hand, okay? I actually play the drums with my hands, but I'm hitting with the drumstick. So if I stiffen up or feel any kind of tension or pain or whatever you might be, what happens there is you're doing something incorrect. That's when the incorrect comes into view. I mean, if you want to be playing out of the box and you want to get different sounds and everything, yeah, there's certain things you have to adjust to the laws of physics. But when I drop a stick, it comes right back. That's the law. That's right, because it's a law of physics. Now, I don't want to get into speed and, not speed, but what's the word? Geez, come on, man, get your brain together. If I drop the stick, for example, very lightly, I get a certain sound. But if I drop the stick with force, there's momentum there. So there's a difference in my arm, the different muscles I'm using. The one thing I could highly recommend, and I get a lot of people giving me shit about it, you do not practice on a pillow. Never. You do not squeeze a drumstick. That creates tension, that creates tendinitis, that creates carpal tunnel, okay? Now, you have to be creative with the stick control book, which I'm trying to show everybody. It's not just one way. You could be creative in your own ways. You exercise the first 3 pages, all right, in a variety of different ways. It's a great book to reference from. Like you have the first page there, Tracy, of the formulas, and it's just a one surface exercise on the snare drum. Let me put it back on snares. As 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, blah, so on and so forth. Now that's a hand exercise, and you're using an order to play in. Now what's good about the order is the increments are in 4 measures. Okay. You're not going to use a vamp. You can create a vamp for this, but I didn't present it with a vamp, okay? The reason why it's a 4-measure increment, think about it. Most American music is either in 4-measure increments, 8-measure increments, 12 measures, or 16 measures, okay? And that's kind of, you play the line, if you vamp, that's 8 measures. That's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 measures. So you're kind of playing in 8 measures all the time, subconsciously. Good advice, dear Paul. Okay, so now, that's the first exercise. Now I want to expand on it. So I use the substitution exercise now. Instead of making my right 3 rights with my hand, I'm going to make my right become my bass drum with 3 patterns. So instead of me playing line 1, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, and then the next movie after that, dang, you're gonna play it against the jazz time. You see where it's going there, Waggy? Well, there's nothing wrong with playing just on a practice pad there, Waggy. I've done it for many years myself, but I had I lived in a flat or an apartment for a period of time in my life, and I couldn't set up my drums and blast it all over the place anytime I wanted to, or the cops would be knocking on my door, putting me in jail. I was fortunate enough to be playing 6 nights, 7 nights a week. So that, I practice on the pad to keep in shape, get my hands going on. Or I do a make-believe kind of drum set. I'll use a phone book as a symbol, and it's not a very good thing, but it's better than nothing. And set up 2 different kind of things here, like this would be a floor tom-tom here with something. So, yeah, you can do that, but the practice pad's not going to hurt you. Absolutely not. Now, like if you get back to line 1, I mean, the first way, you're doing it, you're stuck on that first way. Sure, that's beautiful. I just showed you another way. Actually, there's 3 different ways now you got it. Another way you can do it, you know the difference between straight and swung, Waggy? Straight and swung? That's 3 girls. That's his wife and his 2 daughters there, Randy. I think every man should have a daughter. You're fortunate, Paul, you have 2. I hope they're young, because when they get older, you're going to have a lot of things to deal with. It's tough. What did I ask you? I forgot to get distracted, Waggy. Well, you should do. Ask Renzo. He bought the PDFs this afternoon. He got them right away. Correct, Renzo? Renzo's from Switzerland. Okay? And I have 45 different ways to do it. You can't get bogged down with that. And I'm doing lessons from the book. Like today's an open lesson. I usually do either the workbook or the stick control formulas or whatever. But mostly out of those 2 books. Twins, oh boy, oh, good for you. All right, so that's the 3rd way. You don't know straight up and down or swung? Okay, that's what I asked you. All right, here's straight up and down. If you like, we'll go back to the first line of 8th notes in the stick control book. I'm going to just do the line. I'm not going to repeat it. So you have the measure as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. No problem. That's straight up and down. If I'm playing a straight up and down rock pattern, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Now, for me to swing line 1 or syncopate line 1, I have to do something. I have to think differently. When I'm playing the 8th notes like this, 1 and 2 and, that's my count. So now I want to swing it, make it loose, man, make it happen, make it deep. So what I'm going to do now is, instead of thinking 1 and 2 and, my mind's going to revert to an eighth note triplet. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so now if I played line 1 with that in mind, the 1, 2, 3, 4 sound the same, and the ands are now no longer on 1, 1 and. They're going to become the duh of the triplet. So if I played that line swung, the first measure anyway, I'm thinking triplet. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and straight up and down. 1 and 2 and 4 and swung. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Does that help you get the difference? Waggy, do you understand that? So now if I played, let me play line 3. I'm going to play the first line of stick control book, line 3 of stick control book, page 5, straight up and down. 3 and 4 and, okay? Now I'm going to swing the line. 1 and 2 and 3 and. Now, it doesn't really sound like anything doing the stick control book like that, but it's a way of interpreting the book. So here's another way to do the stick control book. Okay? If I look at the first line and say, all right, I'm just going to play the rights. I'm going to eliminate the lefts, but I'm thinking 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. I'm thinking of the line swung. Well, go away from the vamp, go away from the exercising. This is a new thing. Okay, Waggy? So now, I'm trying to explain to you, if you did 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? And you eliminate the lefts, all you're going to get is 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. If I did line 2, which would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and I eliminate the lefts, I'd get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Line 3 is a better example, and maybe that you have to understand when you get to this point. So I would have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and so I eliminated the lefts. Okay, this is an explanation for this exercise I'm going to do now. So I'm going to play all the rights the way I just did for you. However, I'm going to give you I want a straight line of eighth note triplets. So I'm going to fill in the balance, whatever's missing with the eighth note triplet with my left hand. So you have line 1. I'll do it slow. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and line 2. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and line 3. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Now there they don't sound like anything, but you have to understand you're learning it. You're on that journey to get it right. No, you can't expect to learn something now and then try it and be like you were playing it all your life. That's the concept that you're learning for this particular exercise. Practice it a few times like that, and now you can get it like this. You get it up tempo a little bit. I'm sorry, my left hand again. You see where you can go with that, Waggy? Absolutely. That's the laws of physics, Waggy. If I hit, how do you get them to sound the same? If I hit my right stick from up here, and I hit my left stick from here, they don't sound the same. So scientifically, theoretically, and the laws of physics, if I come down from the same spot, whether it's right-handed or left-handed, I have the same sound. If I come down like this, two different spots, it's two different sounds. So what you have to do, practice in front of a mirror. Practice slowly. I demonstrated that today. I'm not going to go set up the metronome. Next drum pad lesson, you come and hang out and I'll show you. At 35, it's insane. But that was my first lesson with Joe Morello. And I'm saying, why am I going to play this at 35? And I went through the whole explanation. And I'm not going to do it right now. Buy the book, Waggy. I can't send you a hardcover. If you want the PDFs, just email me and I'll give you the information. It's $25 for the PDFs. It's 180 pages. Send it to my account, my PayPal account, and I'll send you the PDFs. 45 different ways. Now, I'm not ignoring the other people, but Waggy asked me a question, and it's to everybody's benefit. Believe me, it's always revisiting something you already know. And plus, okay, Stacy, you have not been here for those kind of lessons, and you have the book now, and they're in there. And I guess because you got the book, what, yesterday or this afternoon or this morning or whatever, you didn't have a chance to really look into it. But you look into it. All the exercises are written out. 180 pages. That's insane, man. Where else can you get purchase a book with a teacher? Well, you need time, Stacy, then to look at it. But man, there's so much in there. And plus, that gives you the opportunity to be creative. Now, the guys who have cameras, you know what would really be nice? You know, we're not camera shy, man. We're drummers, man. We're crazy. All right? A lot of, I don't want you to see me playing. You're going to expose it to everybody. No. What I would like to see, I think I mentioned it to you today, Jim. Let me see you do a paradiddle the way I explained it. Or let me see you do something that I explained. Or anybody else. Send me a video. The video helps me help you. Ooh, Renzo. Hold on. Stick and drill, but you guys are really something. I mean, you like to help me out. Which you have 100 books, huh? Thanks a lot, guys. You guys are incredible. That's nice. I guess the hard work and the love really pays off, and it's very much appreciated. So like I said, tonight's an open lesson. I had a question, and I tried to answer it. Let's hit some questions, man. This is what it's about. Hey, Jim, what'd you think of that Take 5 solo with a transcription? Huh? Take 5 with a transcription. Modern technology is totally great. Man, I wish they had that 30, 40 years ago. But now you get a video with a transcription. Whoa. Unreal. Okay, anything you guys want to go over? Well, you guys are looking out for me tonight. Did I do something right? Huh. Okay. That's enough advertisement, people. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Please. You have 100 books, Randy. From now on, like I said before, if you guys want to buy books, contact me first. I get you a nice price. I can't eliminate the tax. Huh. All right? But I might be able to eliminate the shipping. All right? And give you a good discount. Anything from Alfred and Hudson Music. All right? So far. I'm doing the Berkeley thing, the Berkeley Press, and Amazon. I did Alfred today. So I'm kind of accomplishing all that. Which Max Roach one is that, Jim? Paul, get on. I'll tell you what, Paul. I'll send it personally to you. I don't know which transcription you're talking about, Jim. Which drum? Delilah. All right, I don't have that. All right, Joe, do I always feather? No, I don't always feather. And by feathering, what John, and how you doing, John? Nice discussion. You're a very polite young man. You're gonna go far in your life. You really are. I could just sense from our discussion that you're a really good person. Okay? Now, feathering. Now, let's say we're doing a piano, bass, and drum trio. And you're just playing a jazz time. Now, I'm not playing no bass drum there, but now I am. Can you hear that? I'm feathering the bass drum in. Now, in that situation, if I want to, okay, I could accent some hits that I'm receiving from the piano player or the bass player, the feeling, all right? But I'm not gonna, play a jazz pattern like this. Somebody come in there and shoot me. When I hit the bass drum hard, it's for accenting. Does that help, Mr. Green? Yeah, I have that. We're going to get that. We're going to put that up. It's going to take about another week or two. Mr. John Green, did that help you? Am I in the States, Waggy? Yes, I'm in the United States. When I'm playing a straight ahead time, dang, dude, that's laying down the time. I'm feathering the bass drum here. Okay? I'm also, if I'm reading a big band chart, I make the kicks where necessary to accent and to feel good and sound good. Okay? Other than that, if I want to do certain effects, I'm going to explode that bass drum. Like, for example, when we do the fatbacks, and it's not fatbacks, but I relate to that name because it's in the Gary Shafee book. When he's going like this. That's an ostinato. Backbeat on 2 and 4. Now, when I hit the bass drum, I'm pronouncing that bass drum. Okay? I'm hitting that bass drum as it's the solo voice over that ostinato. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, and 2, and. Do you understand that, John? Did I get disconnected or something? No response? Any questions on anything? Which book do you have now, John? You have this formulas. It's the same process. It's a little cheaper. The workbook is $35. That's PDF. The PDFs are $20. The book itself, mailed to you, is $35. Okay, that's the workbook. And yes, Waggy, I'm in the United States, the East Coast. And feathering in, it depends on the situation. You're playing a big band and you want to smoke the band and you want to kick the shit out of, excuse my expression, the trumpets or the sections. Yeah, man, you pronounce that bass drum. Dang, doo, dee, dang, dee, dee. Whatever you want to do. You got it? Chio, where you going? Ritz, where you going, man? Rizzio. He left? Okay. I'm doing those hand things, I'm not really feathering or playing the bass drum at all. Da-ba-doo-bop. Boom, boom. Ah, ah. Like when you do the take 5 solo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. I'm pronouncing that bass drum on the 1, and I'm dropping the hi-hat on 2 and 4, and keeping with the feet absent number 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. That's 5. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. I learned that from Mr. Joe. Okay, good, Waggy. I know it's, 7-hour difference, 5-hour difference? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 12:30, right? Or, wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, 12:30. 1 p.m. in the afternoon was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 o'clock your time. So come back in the afternoon, okay? Hey, Jim, you could email me the link, okay? And if you and I could take some excerpts from the PDF and we'll teach it. We'll have a good time. Okay, any questions? I mean, I burnt you guys out this afternoon. I did almost an hour and a half. Mr. John Green, I was feathering the bass drum there. Zop, zop, zop. Hear the bass drum being feathered in. But if I want to punch the band, boom, ja, boom, ga, 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 ga. 1 o'clock, Renzo. Renzo, where you said Switzerland? No questions, Robert. It's almost 2 o'clock. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hours. 6 hours. Wow. I hate these time zones. No questions, Stacy? No questions, anybody? I'll tell you what, like I said, Jimmy, send me the PDF. I can't send the PDF to from Morello's because he's got it on screen as is playing. So I could take a couple measures, freeze it, and take a couple measures and write it out for you, and then you can review it and see if you could feel it. It's that's a cover tune, man. I remember when I was a kid, when it first came out, it was progressive jazz. Now it's elevator music. I don't understand that. Four-stroke roughs? Okay. Good for you, man. That's what I need. I don't want to close up. All right. Anybody have the Buddy Rich book? Now, it's a four-stroke rough in my book. And the Buddy Rich book, too, as well. That book is a classic. And most drummers have it and gone through it. Classically trained musicians don't think it's a four-stroke rough. They think it's 3 grace notes in front of a quarter note, which it is. And again, field drumming, classically trained musicians. Classically trained musicians, 3 rudiments: singles, doubles, and flams. Okay, communication-wise, for communication purposes, field drummers like the drum corps. All right, let's hear some 5-stroke rolls. Let's hear some single paradiddles. Let's hear some Swiss Army triplets. They're labeled. Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate my approach and how I learned the 4-stroke rough. I learned it a few different ways, and I'm going to share it with you. My first encounter with the 4-stroke rough was the Buddy Rich book. And it was written in 6/8. And I was taught the Adler system way back then. And the drum corps guys would actually play as a classically trained person. But if I go to ground zero with this, we're going to count 6/8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now on the count of 5 and 6, we're going to rest. That gives you the feel to understand the sticking and where the placement of the accent is. Okay, so what I'll just play one hand for now for a second to show you the rhythmic formation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now the Buddy Rich book, you could either start it with the right hand or the left hand. All right, now the first way I was taught, I was like this. That's regimented military Adler system. 1, 2, 3, 4. Squeeze that stick. Ha. Okay. 5, 6. That's the first way I learned it, which was the most ridiculous thing I've learned one of the most ridiculous things I've learned in my life. But I didn't know any better back then because I was a student. I thought that's how you play it. I was taught, oh, hey, he's a drum teacher, you know? And there's a lot of them out there that don't know what the hell they're doing. Anyway, it's not the correct, it's the proper execution where you get the nice sound from the snare drum. You're not using as much energy. You're letting the sticks do what you're telling them to do. So how I start the 4-stroke, and I'm going to do that same formation, but I'm going to insert the level in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the sticking. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now I ended that with the right hand. I'm going to start the next guy with the right. So it's an alternating 4-stroke rough. 1, 2, 3, 4. Left hand, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's ground zero. That's what is occurring. Sure, I will do that after I get over this, all right? You don't mind, do you, John? Okay. You guys are having a conversation without me, huh? I'm demonstrating for the old dog how to get into a 4-stroke. And by the way, it's also now called the single 4. Why? I have no idea. And you know what? I really don't care. To me, it's a 4-stroke rough. So that's ground zero, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the motion that's occurring. That's the sound you should be getting, okay? All right, now, that's in 6/8 formation, slow. Now you want to take it to another formation. Let's say 8th note triplet formation. So if you actually realize that there's 1 and 2 and is 6 beats or 6 counts. So I'm going 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's another way of entering it, and it's an open 4-stroke rough. Now I know the one you're talking about is the 3 grace notes in front of the king note or the primary note, whatever you want to call it. So there's a way to count that, and it's a little silly, but it works. The 3 grace notes is did, li, Watch this. Did, li, 1. Did, li, 1. Did, li, 2. Do you see that? Does that help you out there, sir? Mr. Old Dog? Why is it called a rough? Because they have to make a distinction between a rough and a roll. There is no such thing as a 4-stroke roll or a 3-stroke roll. There's only a 4-stroke rough and a 3-stroke rough. If I go to a 5-stroke rough, that's a rough, 2 5-stroke roughs. Now, a 5-stroke roll is a double and a single. That's the difference. It's a language thing. You got it, Mr. Old Dog? Now, the next question was from Mr. John Green. You want to talk about comping, or you want to talk about comping like Elvin Jones does? You know, that's a good question, and that brings out a lot to talk about, okay? Number one, the only guy that can comp like Elvin Jones is Elvin Jones. That's number one. Now, let me tell you the concept first, or explain the concept, then you tell me, okay? Like we discussed today. If you and I went to an open jam, and we said, okay, you go up and play first, and you're playing a tune by a Coltrane tune, A Moment's Notice. Ba-da-ba-ba, ba-do-boo-dee-dow, okay? And you did it, man. You nailed it. You sound good. You played it. You're happy. You're smiling. You accomplished it. You were at a place where nobody else was at except the musicians you were playing with. Now, old-time Matt gets up there, and I'm playing the same tune, and I nail it. Okay, just like you did. Now, let me ask you a question. You played it and I played it, same tune, but it all sounded different. Not the structure, not the melody, but the interaction. Why is that? Okay, it's the way I interpret the tune. Now, the term comping, all right, I don't like that term. It's existing and it's a good way to explain things, but I deal with comping as a conversation. When I speak to somebody, they should stop speaking and listen. Let's say listening is the comping, okay? Now, the comping all of a sudden doesn't want to listen to me, wants to say something. And he says something to me, so I stop. I comp. Do you understand that, John? Does that make any sense to you? Bruce, how you doing? No, you're not. You always show up late. Okay. Does that help you out, Mr. John? Mr. Green? When I play a tune with the band, there's a certain, and I even talked about this with Mike Clark. And for you guys who don't know Mike Clark, you should get into Mike Clark. Man, this guy has a hell of a spirit. And he knows how to play. He knows the music. Like, do you ever realize all the guys that played with Art Blakey, all the great musicians, he went through them a lot. Why did everybody want to play with Art Blakey? He knew the tunes, okay? He knew the structure of the tunes. And you weren't making the structure, man. You were out of there. And that motivated everybody to really get into the concept of the A, B, A. The norm, 32 bars. So if you're sitting in or you're playing a jazz tune, the first 32 bars is pronounced. Usually the rule is they'll play the head twice. The head is 32 measures, and they repeat the head as 32 measures again. Then the solos and the improv begins. Now, here's where the term comping comes in. After I played with the band, the two verses of the head is, so to speak, that's what it's called. Now, like I said, the improv comes. So now, the first guy that's going to solo, say is the piano player. It's not a solo, rather. He's going to take the lead. So he's actually playing the melody, but he's interacting with the melody. He's playing with the melody and against the melody, his chord changes, his feel, whatever it might be. The melody exists. So I'm comping. That's what you want to call it. I'm thinking melodically, all right? That's tight. I could play open, but I don't want to do that right now. I'm going to play tight. You know, ba-ding, jong, ding, jong, ding, jing, jong, jong. Somebody, and all that stuff, when they're playing against the melody. And now, he's laying something down, and I hear something. I want to have a conversation with him, musically. I want to interact with him without losing the melody. You know, the term comping and vamping get a little confused. When I'm playing, I'm sure that you guys have experienced watching this or listening to this. You're watching and say, it's jive as some of the people I'm going to mention sound. Don't worry about that. Just, I want to give you an example. If you're watching television and tonight's guest, special guest, say, is Barbra Streisand. Great singer, great voice. And Chad Wackman's her drummer. I saw that one. And they start a tune, whatever the tune might be, and they're playing through it. And after the tune is ended, everybody's clapping. She's making a few announcements, and she leads herself into the song. Okay, now, while she's leading herself to the song, the band is playing in the background. Ba-ding, da, ba-ding, da, ba-ding, real nice and light. It's giving that spirit to her voice. She's above the band, but the band's in the background. Now, that to me is comping. Improv and comping are two different things. See, the terminologies need to be straightened out. The terms for drums, or for music rather, or especially drummers, should be definitely international. And they're not, unfortunately, because you got all the hot shots and the big deals who can't play making their own shit up. And it confuses the young guys. And the language gets all screwed up. You say, I comp. You say, what's a comp? I vamp. You know what it is. Or you know, you're comping. Somebody says, you should be vamping. You don't know what that is. Okay? And does that make sense, John? It is what it is. You could say vamping and comping are the same thing. Yes, you could say that, Dennis. I mean, for argument's sake, but technically, no. The term comping, I don't really like that term, but it exists. To me, comping usually is in the text of backing some solo, somebody who's taking a verse. Okay, that's, to me, I don't deal with that. I'm not comping behind him and he's taking 2 verses, 3 verses, and he's coming back in with the band. I don't deal with that. I have a conversation with that soloist. The way he plays his instrument, I want to play my drums that way. I am not a timekeeper. You get to playing at that level. Why do you have to keep time for anybody? You play. You play into the music. You enhance it. You give the music color. You're having a conversation with the sax man. You're having a conversation with the bass player. Great, no? Robert, you answered the question. Vamp and comping are the same thing. You said no. Okay. I said, for argument's sake, you can say that, but technically, no. See, the questions, man, make me stay longer, guys. I love it. I love it. It's like giving a seminar plus a clinic. It helps me. It does. And remember, the ones that are really getting, like comping for a singer, is, you could say it's a vamping for a singer as well. Well, whatever you want to say, Randy, you could say it's accompanying a singer or accompanying. The terms, you get Webster's dictionary, you could have an argument all night. It depends on how you use the term. And the way it's being presented out there, you're not accompanying anybody, you're playing with them. You're not hired as an accompaniment, you're hired as a musician. You're going to play your instrument. John Coltrane, if you were playing with John Coltrane, that guy takes you way out there. You want to go way out there with him, go. That's not comping, that's improving. But it still could be termed as comping. The terms get confusing. There's a tune, it drove me crazy. Everybody knows Alan Herman, correct? They should know him anyway. A good friend of mine, and he does a lot of things here. And he's a very knowledgeable, he's a brilliant man. And during the course of a day, we talk on Skype or we interact in a chat sometimes. Or sometimes we don't talk to each other for a couple days. Well, there's a couple times in our friendship we haven't talked for 4 or 5 months because we were arguing. All right, but the point is this, you know, he sent me a video of Elvin Jones, A Night in Tunisia. It's on YouTube. Now, the part that I'm talking about, it's on the YouTube, it's just a solo of Elvin Jones taking a solo, his turn to take a solo on A Night in Tunisia. I had to listen to that, no exaggeration, maybe 40, 50 times for me to hear the melody in his solo. But once I found it, it was there. He took that so far out, he even confused the other musicians that he was playing with. If you guys get a chance to listen to that, you'll understand better what I am talking about now. Absolutely. What's this here? Now let's see. Well, that's a good way to put it, Jimmy. Maybe I put it wrong, but that's really nice, Jim. I would listen to Jim. Is Ed in here? You know, there's some really fine. Hey, Bruce, what did you say? Mike Clark really rocks hard? Don't let him hear you say something like that. It's a compliment, yes, Bruce. But Mike's a jazz musician. And, you know, he wants to be referred to that. You know, he played with Herbie Hancock years ago. And Herbie Hancock, there was a change going on from straight ahead jazz to jazz fusion. And you needed a rock flavor with that. Both swing and a rock flavor. That's where Mike really got into his recognition thing. But, you know, you guys, if ever you want to hear Mike really, really play, go see him live. That guy plays his ass off. And there's another guy, man, I love dearly, man, with his playing, Jeff Hamilton. Man, that guy, when he plays a solo, you think he's playing the piano. Huh, what a solo. Well, fast tempos don't mean nothing. This is tempo. He plays fast tempos, but there's a thought process with fast tempos. Which drum book do you have? Because he has two drum books out there, Bruce. His newest one? What's in his book right now, the book that you have is what I'm talking about. However, you know, Rob Wallace is the producer and the editor and the publisher of his new book. And, you know, we have scheduled something here with Rob Wallace, myself, and Mike Clark with a couple other musicians. And the object was, yeah, to hear him play with musicians, explain the drum set, how he's interacting with the other musicians, and to explain his book. That has to be postponed until all this lockdown is over with. But we are going to do that as soon as we can. Yeah, you don't have, listen, there's no limit on questions, John. Don't make it sound like you're imposing, because you're not. Jeff Hamilton is a magnificent player. John, you could ask any questions anytime. I'm waiting on Mr. Green. I like Mr. Green. Yeah, his Headhunters album. I've done a couple things with Mike here on the drum pad and on a drum set, and we're going to do that again. You want to hear about my foot technique? I never really practiced feet, you know, or pedal technique, and there's a lot of great players out there that have phenomenal feet. You know, the only one guy that I enjoyed or learned a lot from was Colin Bailey. I met him a few times, and he's against all these new laws, not against, I don't make it want to sound criminal, pedals. He uses a strap. and he don't lift his heel off that board. And he has one of the fastest feet I've ever seen. He was just a magnificent guy. Older guys, he's an old timer, man, but he's really good. And he gave me a few hints on bass drum technique. Now, you look at some of the videos that are out there, you see guys, pushing their soul into, it's like so many things going through my head here. Oh, it's like the push-pull of the drumstick is the push-pull with the foot. Now, I don't really practice or try to develop my foot to be outrageously fast. I have so many other things to do, But I mean, I should, but I don't, and I apologize. I can explain a few things if you'd like. He most certainly is, man, and he's a beautiful human being. And before I even met him and knew him, when I was with Joe, he's always talking about Colin. Yeah, his book, I have it as well. The heel and toe, yes, you could use that on the board, but I prefer to use the heel and toe on the hi-hat. The heel, it's a matter of interacting with time. I know where 1, and I know where 2, I know where 3, and I know where 4 is. But I let that go, so that releases, me counting 1, 2, 3, 4 in the melody. But that's underlining the melody, and that's telling me where the 2 and 4s, and then I can embellish upon that and put some color on it and play it where I want. But the heel and toe, it's just like, I don't really practice the push and pull. It's just push, pull, push, pull, push, pull. I think that's how you do it. I'm not certain. The heel and toe, all right, it depends on what you want to do with the hi-hat. As I always refer to the hi-hat as the forgotten foot, because nobody really practices the hi-hat. But it's an instrument. It's like, hey, man, the abused child, the neglected child is a better term. All right? It helps me. And the technique that I use when I'm playing straight ahead, that's stiff and it's straight ahead. But I'm counting 1 and the 2 and the 3 and the 4. My heel is on 1. 1 and the 2. Toe on 2. 3, heel on 3, toe on 4. So I got heel, toe. Jane, chong, ting, jane, jing. I could feather, like we talked about before, feather my bass drum. Now, another way that I could talk about the feathering of the bass drum is I'm playing 4 voices at one time. I don't want any of those voices when I'm playing this kind of thing overpowering the other voices. I want them to all blend in musically. And I don't want to hear bang, or, do. I'm sorry, I'm just goofing. But make them all sound musical. Ding, dong, ding. I'm feathering the bass drum, playing the hi-hat, giving me that chick. Da-ba-doo-ba, ding-ka-doo-bo. Ding, dong, ding, dang, dong, dong. It's part of it. Heel, toe, heel, toe. And yes, man, Colin Bailey, man, is a gentle, beautiful human being, and he plays his ass off. Period. And anytime you ever meet him, listen to him. He gives out some valuable information. There's so many beautiful guys out there, and unfortunately, there's some assholes out there. And you know what? I shoot from the hip, like you said, Jim. I'll tell you to your face, you're an asshole if you are. I have nothing to what are you going to do, beat me up? Okay, anybody? Man, look at the time. Mercy. Any more questions? Everybody have a good time tonight. John, did my foot technique answer help you? I mean, I don't have any particular. Let me embellish a little bit on it. For example, if I'm playing an ostinato pattern, and you have this there, Stacy. Now, what I want to do, I don't want speed or pedal technique. I want endurance. So I'm going to play underneath that straight 16ths with the bass drum. I'm going to go 1 E and a 2, 3, 4, 1 E and I'm playing heel down, heel up. I get more volume and more speed. But I'm not looking for speed. I'm looking to loosen it up and develop my muscle. So I'm going to play. I'm playing the top a little lighter so you can hear that bass drum. But if you do something like that at that tempo for 3 or 4 minutes, and you do it mostly every day, after a period of time, you're going to have a lightning fast foot. It's just like to do it with your hands. You say, wait, I only can vamp here. I can't vamp here. Well, you got to develop it and you have to practice it. And like I said, and I apologize, I do not have any particular kind of foot technique. I have listened to Colin Bailey. I have his book, and the guy is brilliant. Now I'm not going to be, all right, he works on feet combined with hands. Well, don't we all? Ayadunga. I'm playing this. I have control of my 4 limbs. I want to play an 8th note triplet with my foot. That was a 4-stroke rough there, Mr. Old School. It's all combined, absolutely. Troy. Thank you, Troy. Where you been? I'm glad I stayed out here later. Okay, guys, I had enough. I'm sure that you don't mind me signing off. And it's not because you're here, Troy. I've been here since 7 o'clock. Come back tomorrow afternoon, 1 o'clock. No, not tomorrow. There's none until Monday. I'm sorry. Monday, 1 o'clock. So they're 1 o'clock. You did? Thank you, John. Troy, it's crazy in Colorado. It's crazy all over the world, man. Okay, I'll stay on here for a few minutes if anybody wants to have a conversation. Paul, I'll send you the video. Randy, you know, I would love to meet you in person one day, a lovelier time. Ha! Okay, Brad, my next lesson, and email me. You have my mail. I'll put you on my mailing list, and you'll get notification. Or if you subscribe to my channel, you'll get an email immediately that I'm live. Okay? And again, the broadcasts for now are going to be in the same location on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 1 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Stacy, I'm not going to let you go unless I hear a question or something. I'm sure we will, Randy. Guys, you have a good couple days off. Please be safe, man. Follow the rules. Don't go outside if you don't have to, unless you have a backyard. Try not to go no place. Practice. Read a book. Hug your wife. Hug your boyfriend. Hug your girlfriend. Whatever. All right. Get on my mailing list, Brad. Email me and I'll add you. And you'll get notification as well. And PDFs if necessary. Okay, guys, I'm getting out of here right now. I had enough for tonight, or actually for today. So I hope you guys don't mind. Okay? We'll see everybody Monday, 1 p.m. Now, if you have any questions before then, don't stay in limbo. Email me a question. And, if I could address it, email or on Skype, I will. If not, we'll address it at the next live lesson. Jim, you're a great guy, Jim. Let me get back to that. Hold on. You're welcome, Dennis. Oh, Dennis, your book is in the mail. The mail's slow because of what's going on. Okay? Okay, guys. Have a wonderful couple days. Need to say goodnight. Come on, Pooter.